Yo, welcome everyone, Sanjae Uchiha here. Welcome back to the channel. Of course, it is the end of June, and as we near the release of Boruto Chapter 60, which seems like a big chapter release to me, if I do say so myself. But it is what it is. Of course, we're here to talk about theories, analysis, and discussions regarding the upcoming chapter, as I usually do. Today, I have a guest with me. He's been on the channel before. She calls me Betty. What's up, man?
Yo, man! Exciting time to be alive and the Boruto fan, man, for sure, man. Thanks for having me. Like without a doubt, glad to be here. But yeah, no, man, definitely excited to be a Boruto fan. How you been though? How things?
Man, not too bad if I do say so myself. I mean, for the most part, most persons know by now I had that stretch of time for like over a week when I didn't do anything. Been making a lot of changes, moving, changing places, changing jobs. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, but
So
break is good. Break is good,
yeah,
right?
interesting.
Yeah.
So Boruto chapter 60. It's funny because at this point, I thought we would be getting into the Boruto time skip, but that doesn't seem to be the case. But at the same time, I think it's time we kind of start talking about Kara's goals and Kara's wishes. More, or
Mhm.
even more specifically, when it comes on to Amado and his objectives going into chapter 60 and beyond. Because at this point, my new prediction is we'll have 5 more chapters before the time skip. So, yeah. But in terms of Amado, man, like generally, what are your thoughts on him at the moment?
Amado is, I feel like we're both in agreement in saying that we both were expecting Amado to be that character that was going to be like the villain behind the villain, right? Almost like a Toby-esque figure who we never really trusted from the outset. He came into the Hidden Leaf Village being very manipulative, even just his approach, interactions with the characters. There's always seemed to be some sort of, motive, like some sort of underhanded just objective right behind everything that he was sort of doing. So I think going forward, well, I mean, to be honest, we've already had that reveal, right, in chapter 59 that yeah, Amado has definitely a lot more cards at play here to use, right? So I think we're at now finally in the area of the story where we're going to start to explore what his wish potentially was from Jigen, right? Because we know that
Yeah.
there was definitely a wish there for sure, but also who Amado is, what his backstory is, why he's so smart, how he was able to create all of these different androids. Good man, how is he so smart? Like,
Yeah.
how was he able to create all of these broken fighters like Damon, Aida, like Delta, all of these different Koji? Like, it makes no sense to me other than the fact that he potentially, one, could be, what I think a lot of people are thinking at the moment, and not Satsuki, right?
Yeah,
Or
I did
two.
see Naruto explain put out his one of his latest videos regarding that whole theory idea of his, which would be an interesting idea. But I think
Yeah.
even in tackling an idea like that, we kind of have to look at the facts because, of course, one, we do know that 12 years ago he had a daughter that apparently died, which
Yeah,
would
true.
put Amado. That would be probably around the same year Boruto was born, give or take a year, give or take. So
Mm,
that's still after the fourth grade ninja war. We know that at least based on chapter 46, I think, if memory serves right, when Kashin Koji confronts Jigen, and Jigen
yeah.
says all the members of the inner decided to share the chakra fruit. And then even more recently, with the anime adaptation of recent events, we've had them drop like the infinite Tsukuyumi as an extension of all of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of Kara's wishes and how that ties back to Amado, given all those facts, I'm wondering, like, what is Amado's ultimate goal?
That's the bit that confuses me because, of course, yeah, if he's an Otsutsuki and, from everything we've seen from Amado, on top of him being an Otsutsuki, why would he follow, Ishiki? Why would he not just go about his own plans? I think that's one of the questions that would prop up just from, him potentially being that figurehead. And then also, yeah, like to your point, if he was an Otsutsuki, why would he have a need for a wish? What would be the whole need for him having a daughter? How would he have a daughter? Why would an Otsutsuki want to have a daughter? I think a lot of these questions would prop up,
Yeah.
but the daughter aspect is definitely very interesting because I do kind of agree with the narrative explained notion that, yeah, when we look at Aida, she's kind of been ruled out as potentially being, the daughter he was speaking about, right, Amado. And I think that Delta's looking a lot more likely because, yeah, of that link of, potentially Damon being this, the relative she's speaking about, the person who was a blood relative. So I think, yeah, there is still a daughter out there that we've potentially definitely seen in the story, but I
Yeah.
think we can definitely rule out Ada in that regards for a fact. But it does kind of also add a little bit of fuel to the fire about the Otsutsuki theory. Also, particularly due to the fact that, yeah, when we saw Sasuke go into that dimension, especially because we saw it recently in the, 2 episodes ago, we saw
Yeah.
those two different, Otsutsuki sigils on the wall, right? So
Yeah.
we know that there are two, or we know that there are more out there, basically, long story short, right? There's more Otsutsuki out there that could potentially be used in the story. So that's what I'm curious about, is whether, we're going to see them being implemented, whether Amado has any links or ties, or whether he's one of them himself.
Yeah.
And yeah, just yeah, what his wish is, because that's a curious part to why would you want to work for Ishiki, right? Like, what's the need there if you're potentially this,
Yeah.
you know, genius, right?
Well, the thing is now we can only go up. We can only go on everything that's happened with Amado in the story to date. So the fact that he betrayed Ishiki, right? We
Mhm.
could probably safely assume that the chakra fruit might not be his ultimate goal, or at least the destruction of the plant might not be his ultimate goal. So
Yeah.
that leads us to, say, chapter 59, where we have him suggesting to Kawaki that, yo, I can give you the artificial karma seal, essentially. So that has me thinking, like, is this whole, I mean, he's a scientist, obviously this is going to be like an experiment, but it kind of has me
Mm.
thinking now if this whole deal with Kawaki is like an experiment to achieve a bigger objective, right? Because I've been thinking, even though Ishiki is dead, right, with this new
Yeah.
artificial karma, using the same, comparison that Amada used in the chapter, can it serve as a means for somebody else's soul to enter through the karma seal? Like some kind of
Um,
weird pseudo Edo Tensei ish, or no, Rene Rebirth ish kind of jutsu. Like,
mm.
probably open up the means for him to test, if I can, if somebody else's soul can come back through my artificial karma, maybe there's some way I can bring my daughter back. Maybe something like that, along the lines of that is his, probably his wish, and everything with Ishiki to date has just been one big experiment to get Ishiki in the right position to die and get Kawaki to lose the
Yeah.
karma so you could give him an artificial one.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an interesting theory, especially due to the fact that, all of the conversations, communications around karma have been about how it's extracting data, data's been absorbed into, Kawaki, Boruto, data. So when you think about, for instance, even the fact that, like, when Amado left the hideout, the Kara hideout, he was kind of like, I've got the aggregates of all the cells, the data. It could be the case of that actually, yeah, he's found a way to, sort of almost like copy and paste some of the data cells or whatever data that he has into, I guess, for a lack of a better term, the house that he was describing in the last chapter, right? Where
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, he pretty much, as someone who has been downloading the Tsutsuki DNA, been building this house. So maybe he's found a way to, almost transfer that data into a new house, almost like moving in furniture, right? So that could be a possibility, because that's I think the main thing I'm seeing from Amado's motives. It's like he definitely wants to utilize Kawaki in some way, right? Whether it's Kawaki and his, I guess, affinity to the karma, or whether it's Kawaki and potentially the abilities that he has, like tied to his shiki. So space time ninjutsu. The shrinking ability. I think I can't remember what it's called, but you know what I mean. Like perhaps
Yeah.
it's either the actual fact that he has a karma or the abilities that come from being Ishiki's vessel that sort of give reason to why I guess Kawaki's so important to Amado. So he's definitely looking to utilize something of Kawaki's without a doubt.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think Kawaki and the time with, Kara aside, I think one of the major, well, the two major, things that we still need to get to really get a better idea of what Amado's wish is, and by extension, what the wishes of the other Kara members are. Well, even though based on the anime, it does seem like their wishes might be rooted in the infinite Tsukuyomi.
Mm.
might be whether it be them becoming dreaming in it, or they get piece of the chakra fruit and they can use that new power, new energy for something else, who knows.
Yeah.
But the missing piece of the puzzle definitely is the Amado flashback, which
Hmm.
should entail the formation of Kara, and
Yeah.
Kashin Koji. Those two pieces
Yes.
are definitely what's going to be needed to actually like resolve or get or just solve the mystery of what these wishes are.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think we were all waiting for that Amado flashback, right? Like, it's interesting with the way that the chapter ended because I think it's now creating room for that to come through. And obviously we know that Kishimoto loves them flashbacks. So please come bless us with your presence, my mangaka, you know what I mean? So fingers crossed we'll get a bit of a flashback soon of Amado. Just again, I'm curious to find out how he got that smart. Obviously, we know that the sort of ninja world have only recently become technologically advanced. So how did Amado, come across this knowledge, become so much of an expert to be able to build all of these different androids, technologically advanced as well as biologically advanced? Like, where does that come from?
Like,
Give us that info, man.
yeah, I know, right? I mean, all right. So even before For Never World, I don't know if you heard For Never World's like recent theory on the matter, but even without his recent theory, obviously a million and one persons have compared this arc of Boruto to the android arc or the Cell Saga in Dragon Ball.
Right, yeah, yeah.
So
I have
one
heard
of
that.
For Neverworld's recent theories was the fact that maybe Amado's actually from the future. But I mean, that as wild as that may be, I mean, it would be a nice way to probably fully, because I know we can't talk about a lot of the early arcs in Boruto not being filler but just being anime original. But it
Yeah.
would be a nice way to quote unquote fully canonize that time travel arc, as disappointing as Sasuke was in that arc. But it would be a nice way to kind of fully canonize it and probably introduce that a concept of
I
time travel, like in the manga
yeah.
at least, and probably with Kashin Koji coming back into the picture, maybe it would be a nice way for them to tie in the fact that Boruto met Jiraiya before, and especially since it's the fact that Kishimoto is the one
Yeah.
that basically wrote the outline for that arc, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, true. Yeah.
So yeah, it would be probably like a nice 2-for-1 there. But I don't know how you feel about time travel, like full on.
Do you know, like the concept always scares me because there's like like as an author, director, writer, whatever it is, there's always a danger of you just messing it up and messing with the plot, creating crazy amount of plot holes. You know what I mean? There's always that fear as a fan, right? When someone's about to enter that time travel space. And I think, yeah, after seeing the Rishiki arc, I know some people liked it, I know some people hated it. You know, personally, like let me just quickly say this. I was a fan of the final battle, right? But the lead up, my lord, like what was that like? Seriously, but no, for real. Like I feel like because yeah, a lot of fans probably feel like that as well. Like, where it's like the Rishiki arc was just so you know, I don't know, it just went up our street, right? Like, I think, yeah, we kind of want to avoid that. Like, I heard the theory, I did watch the video, the Forever, Forever World, and actually, he also mentioned that potentially Amado could be Kawaki coming from the future all the way back. You know what? I'd rather Amado be an alien. I'd rather him be an alien. Just tell me his flaws, you know what I mean? He saw the Otsutsuki, he jumped on the same ship, and then yeah, they all came to Earth. Like, just tell me. Tell me that's the case.
I mean, it could be. I mean, it wouldn't be a stretch to introduce like Amado being a resident of some other humanoid, human-like planet that the Otsutskis probably invaded. It
Mm,
wouldn't really be out of the stretch for something like that to happen. Or, maybe. Alright, this is gonna
yeah.
be like a wild take, but if my theory of, testing if you can, quote unquote, just for lack of a better term, rebirth a soul into an artificial karma. What
Mm.
if once he determines that, maybe his ultimate goal is to, if somehow mass spread artificial karmas to everybody on Earth and revive his planet of people. Maybe that's wild. I know, guys. Don't.
No, 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 no. The thing is, I like that idea. I think that actually is a really awesome idea. Because this is what I was gonna say, just off the back of what you said about him kind of being like, almost like an offshoot of a race that the Otsutsuki sort of took over the planet. I actually think that makes a lot of sense. For
Yeah.
instance, Ishiki sort of valuing his intelligence, decided, you're coming with me as opposed to being absorbed, comes to Earth or something, and then yeah, they work together because that Amado is Ishiki's prisoner, gives him motive to obviously become traitor and turn against him, and then obviously yeah, his whole idea of what he's trying to do, utilizing the karma to bring back his daughter, but then also his people. I think that could potentially be, because like he is a scientist. So of course, we know experimentations is definitely up his alley. Like that's definitely something he's into, and obviously the way he does his work. So I think it kind of does make sense. And actually, I think that makes for some good storytelling. To be honest, I mean that actually could be kind of cool. So yeah,
I
I'd enjoy
mean,
it. I'd
yeah,
enjoy it.
I think it's a wild but interesting take. But
Yeah.
we still have to see. I think these next 5 chapters are gonna be key. But I think, despite our wild theories, the whole thing is going to be Kashin Koji, and at least Kashin Koji,
No,
because
so this is the thing I wanted to ask you. Like, where do you think he's been the last couple of chapters? Because obviously we haven't seen him since the Ishiki fight. It's been over, 6, 7 chapters at this point since we've
yeah, and
seen
it's been
Kashin Koji.
I think it's been more than a week in universe too. So
Yeah.
um
So where is my dude? Like, where is he? Where is he? Because obviously he's lost an arm at this point, right?
should be an
Isn't he
arm
like
and a leg.
arm and a leg, right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So he's obviously needed to go somewhere to heal. He's kind of disabled, like handicapped at the moment. So what are his options? Like the only person I could think is potentially Orochimaru, but then would Orochimaru be as welcoming, like without informing the Hidden Leaf? Because would he want the trouble? Like, I don't know, man.
I mean, it depends, because that's all going to even tie back to a potential Amado flashback where, who knows, we haven't seen Orochimaru in story for pretty much all of the Boruto manga. Um,
Facts, facts.
who knows? Maybe in that flashback we saw that Amado had some plans with Orochimaru. Who knows? But
Mm.
I think we'll see. I think we'll see or hear from Kashin Koji once Kawaki decides to take that karma, because this whole process of implanting this artificial karma, it must have to do with the things that he brought to Konoha with him, that Kashin
Right,
Koji asked him, like, you're just bringing that alone? Yeah, when
right,
you
yeah,
remember the scene when he just took out
yeah.
Delta and Kashin Koji like, yo, you're just bringing that. So I think that's going to be the signal to say, okay, yo, Koji, he took the deal. It's time,
Yeah.
fam. Yes, me. So probably something
Oh, I
along the lines of that.
see. So are you sort of anticipating that Koji is going to be still working with Amado on his sort of next plan, like the next phase almost? So like they're still kind of working together as opposed to Amado kind of being like, your only role was to just, bring out Ishiki, you're done now, cut ties.
Yeah, I think there's more to it than that because you see, even the whole emotional response, I feel like at the time Kodachi probably would have wanted the audience like, oh shit, Amado left Kashin Koji to up to dry. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
much. At least for me, it wasn't much of an emotional response. Like, oh, you left him. Okay, cool, whatever. So I think there's obviously has to be more to it than that.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
all these factors are just going to tie into Amado and what his wish is, and
Mhm.
by extension, we'll get some more information on the desires of the other Kara members.
Yeah, to be honest, I could see like a moment happening in the actual story of where, maybe Amado has to sort of run away, get away from the Hidden Leaf, and as a way to sort of allow him to do so, to aid him, he sort of, because obviously he created the androids, he still has a level of control. He finds a way to call in Kashin Koji, who confronts Naruto, who's chasing, Amado away from the Hidden
Ah,
Leaf
I
in this
actually
point.
like that setup.
You know what I mean? So like perhaps, something happens with the drugs that Boruto's taking. Sumire gets killed, fingers crossed, hopefully not. And then obviously Naruto is chasing down, Amado, and then yeah, Kashin Koji comes in, the reveal that he's a Jiraiya clone fighting against Naruto, who's a weakened Naruto as well, right? So it makes for a better 1v1, but
Yeah.
emotional and sentimental, and yeah, perhaps actually that's the route. Because also they did set up the fact that, Amado was just using Kashin Koji.
Yeah.
So if Kashin Koji's having that moment of almost like self-reflection, of where he's kind of becoming his own person outside of Amado's control, then that would
Yeah.
create a whole internal struggle too, of where he's a little bit like, wait, am I doing this because Amado's told me, or because I want to do this, when he's potentially facing Naruto? So that could be a plot point I think could be quite cool for them to explore. And
Yeah.
then in Kishimoto, I could see that potentially happening with again some flashbacks in there. Jiraiya and Naruto spending time together, eating their lollipops. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, I think this might be my last point, but it's more of like a curious thing for me. I think no, a lot of person might have thought of this already, but the fact that Amado managed, well, I mean, if he can create cyborgs that are that strong, I guess this shouldn't be too surprising. But the fact that he was able to get Jiraiya's DNA under the ocean, which I would imagine should have washed away by now, to clone him, right?
mm,
Because I kind of feel like this is adding more credit to this whole time travel thing, because even say like a month, 2 months, 3 months, I would imagine Jiraiya's body, bones, and everything would have just washed away. Like, so
yeah.
how do you get genetic DNA? Well, I mean, then again, it is Jiraiya, so maybe. But yeah, I mean, if I'm thinking about his actual body, that would have washed away. So it kind of has me kind of curious. Like,
Yeah,
is
no, yeah.
Amado's wish something that's born from some future he's from? So
Right.
that's just my last
Okay.
point for now, I guess.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's an interesting one because we know that, like, Jiraiya wasn't brought back through the Endo Tensei when it came to the war arc, because obviously he had gone into the sea and literally to the bottom, right, where he couldn't be attained by anyone. So we knew it was difficult from the outset for him to be, like, literally caught by anyone. And I have obviously heard some theories. I think it might have been for Netherworld, who literally said, obviously, we know Jiraiya like to spend some time in them hot
Yeah,
springs, right?
that's why I said it, because it's Jiraiya.
Right, so I mean, you never know. It could be that Amado is like, wow, I knew of a lady that Jiraiya like, just left to visit a couple of times
Trust me.
during his ninja journey. But that's definitely a curious one. I think again, we just have to understand who Amado is, because I definitely don't think he's a standard human being. And also the weirdness of him being an alien as well is still present because we know that, I mean, there's been confirmation that he also has been, scientifically modified. Ada literally
Yeah.
said that his eyes had been changed with scientific ninja weaponry. So we know that he's not completely human. He's part of cyborg in some ways. I just wonder if he's also part alien
Yeah.
and part Otsutsuki as well. Because it also might be that he's not completely Otsutsuki. He could be something like, Jigen's son from, because you know that Jigen himself was obviously centuries and centuries old, right?
Yeah.
Like his life was just extended essentially due to the karma. So it could be that Jigen decided to have a son, raised him up, taught him the lore and everything about Yotsutsuki, and then it came to the point that, like, obviously Jigen's like, I need a new vessel, and his son is just like, no, I'm tired of daddy. I need something new.
So
so
interesting theory.
so there's
Interesting theory.
there's a few routes though I think that they've given
It could
themselves
take.
to take, and it's either like the alien part part of Tatsuki in some way, maybe part cyborg, like an AI that has just been creating more AI,
Yo, that would be wild.
like a Skynet experience, Terminator 4,
I wonder how the fan base would react to that. But
yeah.
anyway, yo, that's all we have for this one, gentle people. I hope you guys enjoyed this lengthy discussion regarding Amado and his goals and origins, and by extension, just a bit of Kara. Betty, you have any last words to say, man?
Just thank you for having me. Always good to chat Boruto, and like, yeah, I'm excited about the hype train. We've got some very exciting things coming up, anime and manga as well. So yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, man, no problem. Oh, and well, this should be going up tomorrow, but guys, tomorrow's the end of the month, so tomorrow night is the end of month live stream. It should be interesting. I was thinking of having the main topic for the stream be, do you still hate Boruto? And that should be fun to discuss with you guys along with everything else. So
Definitely
yeah.
a good topic. Good
But yo,
topic.
Betty, respect for coming on again, man. Guys,
Yeah,
definitely
man.
check out Betty. I'll leave the link to his channel in the description below. Definitely give him a like, a subscribe, definitely. Journey to 1,000 subscribers, so yeah, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, again, thank you, everyone. And yeah, man, take it easy.
All right. Peace, gentle people.
Peace.